My Father's house. My Father's house. Today is July the 5th, 2020. And I'm sorry about the dress. I mean, I'm not doing this really for too much show. I would hope I'm not doing it for any show, other than to show people how to become a disciple of Jesus. Like I said, today is July the 5th, and on July the 2nd, there is a magazine it says the Gazette, Farmerville, Louisiana. That's what's on it. The Gazette, Farmerville, Louisiana, July the 2nd, 2020, page 3. I am Joseph. I'm in my Father's house. And on right here, it says, My Father's house. Disciples meet for edification and education. It says, join Joseph at 4774 Highway 151, Brownsville, or on Facebook. The gospel of the kingdom and the age to come may be something you want to learn about. Text or talk to Joseph. I had a whole lot rather talk than I had text. I had. That's just my rathers. Texting is not really for me, although I can text. Text or talk to Joseph at 318-620-9293. That means if you've got that number, you can call me or text me with a text message, because that is my iPhone number. And I am 73 years old, plus a few days. Now, that being said, here is today's message or word for anyone interested in the gospel of the kingdom and the age to come. For the last 2,000 years, I can read from a Bible just like you. The Bible that I've got is not considerably, that old. It was copyrighted. It was written, so to speak, since I was born. American Standard Bible, New American Standard Bible. That's what I deal with. I deal with the New American Standard Bible. You're welcome to deal with any Bible you want. And you are. And the gospel of the kingdom and the age to come. Jesus gave disciples instructions. The instructions he gave them, you can find in the Bible. If you want to find out what Jesus said, get a Bible. You don't need any other book. That's all you need is a Bible. I've got one right here. And one of these pictures, or one of these videos, will be in my Father's house. And the other one will be on YouTube. So there are two cameras recording. And right now, my Father's house, are words that Jesus said. He said them. I will look here. Just bear with me. Just like if you were here. I mean, I've not got this thing scripted out. I haven't checked this. I didn't spend all week getting ready for this message. No, I want this message to be from the heart. From the heart, the mouth speaks. If you don't understand that, check it out. I mean, I'm not going into that today because I'm looking at my Father's house. There's Matthew. There's Mark. And there's Luke. And there's John. Matthew, Mark, and Luke is what I'll be looking at today here in my Father's house. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. My Father's house. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I'm going to go to Matthew. And I have a red letters in the Bible. Therefore, I can just immediately see when the red letters begin on the pages. And that's what I'm going to look at right now. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Matthew. The first words that I see in red letters in Matthew is in Matthew chapter 3, verse 15, right there. The video version, and I may not do but one next time, and just put it on, both places. And I may do that today because I really don't like the way one of these looks. So I won't be I'll be using the one that you see on YouTube and not the other one. So I can turn off the other one. I can take the phone out. Just bear with me. If you're not interested in the kingdom and becoming a disciple of Jesus, then go do whatever you're going to do. That's just good advice. But if you want to know about the gospel of the kingdom and the age to come, you might want to pay attention to these words. In Matthew chapter 3, verse 15. I'm going to start at verse 13 just because it's a good place to start. Then Jesus arrived from Galilee at the Jordan. John was there baptizing. I'll read it like it says from the Bible right here. Then Jesus arrived from Galilee at the Jordan, coming to John to be baptized by him. That's how it's written in the Bible. But John tried to prevent him, saying, I have need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me? That's what it says in Matthew. It's the way John felt. According to Matthew, that's what John said. And Jesus, according to Matthew, replies, permit it at this time, for in this way it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness. That's what it says. That's Matthew. To fulfill all righteousness. In Mark's gospel, the gospel according to Mark. And after John had been taken into custody, Jesus came into Galilee, proclaiming or preaching, it says preaching, the gospel of God, saying, the time is fulfilled and the kingdom of God is at hand. Repent and believe in the gospel. As he was going along by the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, the brother of Simon, casting a net in the sea, for they were fishermen. And Jesus said to them, follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men. And they immediately left the nets and followed him. This happened over 2,000 years ago. Luke, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I am starting in chapter 2. It says, his parents used to go to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. At the feast of the Passover. Every year, it says, his parents used to go to Jerusalem. And when he had become 12, they went up there according to the custom of the feast, the Passover feast. Jesus is now 12 years old. And they were returning after spending the full number of days. So there's a full number of days that you had, or that you would spend in Jerusalem for Passover. And the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, and his parents were unaware of it, but supposed him to be in the caravan and went a day's journey. And they began looking for him among their relatives and acquaintances. There's a caravan. There's no bus. There's no train. A caravan. I remember an automobile that would be called a caravan. Later they did the "car" off, and it just comes to van. When they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem looking for him. And it came about after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. How somebody can twist this and come up with Jesus at 12 years old was in the temple teaching. That is a lie. He's 12 years old. Mom and Daddy looked for him for 3 days. And when they found him in the temple sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. Now, I don't know where. That looks like a total, flip-flop. And when they saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us this way? Behold, your father and I have been anxiously looking for you." And he said to them, "Why is it that you were looking for me? Did you not know that I had to be in my Father's house?" House here does not show to be in the original text because it's italicized. And when you find italicized words, when you're reading this Bible, that means the words are added according to for clarifying. That's what they're supposed to be for. And they did not understand the statement which he had made to them. And he went down with them and came to Nazareth, and he continued in subjection to them. And his mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus kept increasing in wisdom and age, and in favor with God and men. Now I want you to answer me and pay attention. If somebody was here, I would ask this question. Have I read anything that would vaguely lead you to believe that Jesus is God? The answer to that question would be an obvious no. I have not. And if you join me at my Father's house, here it will never happen. I will never tell anyone that Jesus is God. It won't happen. We're laying the foundation today to become a disciple of Jesus. Jesus' disciple. Do you want to be Jesus' disciple? If you do, you will have to put forth some effort, some action, and you will have to speak. That's what you'll have to do. Word and deed. Word and deed. Don't forget that. We're setting the foundation today on teach one to be one. Teach one to be one. Teach one to be one. Have you got that? I want to teach as Jesus taught disciples to make disciples. That's what the command is. Make disciples. So please remember, I would like for everyone to at least listen to this video, because this is the beginning of teach one to lead one. Jesus has not done anything I've read to you from Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I've read to you to where it comes to the red letters. That's what I did. The red letters in this book are read so that you can, or I can, understand that the words in red are words said by Jesus. The words that you hear today are said by me. You have not heard Jesus' voice. And that's a fact. But Jesus did make disciples. He chose 12. What happened? I'm going back to Matthew. Matthew said nothing about when he was 12 years old. Neither did Mark. Matthew started out. John tried to prevent Jesus from being baptized by him. But Jesus said, this way it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness. And after being baptized, Jesus went up immediately from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened, and he saw the Spirit of God descending as a dove and coming upon him. And behold, a voice out of the heavens saying, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. That's what God said. John didn't say those words. Jesus didn't say those words. Matthew has those words right here. This is my Son, the beloved. That's in a footnote. My Son, the beloved. His name, Jesus. Don't forget his name. His name, Jesus. The name given him or given to his parents by Gabriel. How do I know? Because that's what's written in Luke. The angel Gabriel spoke to Mary. Jesus is led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And after he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he then became hungry. I mean, you know, he was already hungry before 40 days and nights passed. You should know that. If you don't know it, what you can do is decide that you're going to fast for 40 days and see how many days it takes you to become hungry. And the tempter came and said to him, who is the tempter? The same tempter that tempted Eve in the book of Genesis